show. This one's for the warrior, yeah. One time for the warrior. This one's for the warrior, yeah. One time for the beyond the show. This one's for the warrior, yeah. One time.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Show. I'm your host, Tabatha McGee, and I'm also the CEO of the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Here's something I need you to do. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Share it with all the social media. Share it with all of our social medias, your social media as well. Tag us at Sickle Cell GA. Share this with your colleagues, your friends, your family members, every sickle cell warrior that you know. We're here today to talk about sickle cell disease, and there are millions of individuals living with sickle cell disease all around the world. And we're going to concentrate today on mental health and the importance of it. And I'm really excited about our guest that we have on our show with us today. His name is Clayton Andrews, and he treats sickle cell warriors every single day. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce him to you guys. Clayton Andrews is a licensed professional counselor and certified professional counseling supervisor. He shares his expertise with patients right here at the Sickle Cell Sanctuary. Clayton is also a sickle cell warrior, but last but not least, he's a husband and a father of 7. Welcome to Beyond the Show, Clayton.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so excited that you're here for so many different reasons. And first, I want to say thank you for all that you do for the community, and particularly our sickle cell warriors. And thank you for agreeing to become an independent contractor here at the Sickle Cell Sanctuary to provide one of the most needed services inside the community, and that's mental health awareness, mental health therapy. And so I would like to just start off by telling me a little bit about your background first.
So a little bit about my background. The funny thing is I actually went to college to study hematology.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you divert then?
I took an elective.
Okay.
It was a psychology course. Discovered I liked it.
Okay.
Took another one. Discovered I liked it. Then I took a criminal justice course. Discovered I liked it and changed my major from biology, music minor to psychology, criminal justice.
Let's stop
Wow.
down 1 second. We're going to keep moving. This thing is actually literally sticking you in the head. Good eyes, Pam. All right. I think that powers
Should I move or shift or something?
No, you're fine. We just had to work that out.
It's fine.
Yep. Okay, you guys can pick up on that question again, and then we'll start from there.
So Clayton, tell me a little bit about your background.
So a little bit about me is I originally started my path in biology, specifically to study hematology,
Okay.
to study sickle cell.
Okay.
Somewhere about halfway through the course, I took an elective, psychology,
Okay.
discovered I liked it. Then I took another course, discovered I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I took a criminal justice course and discovered I liked it. And so instead of going from biology major, music minor, I wound up becoming a psychology major, criminal justice minor. And I guess the rest is history.
Here you are today as a mental health counselor, certified mental health counselor. When diagnosed with sickle cell disease, what type of disease do you have?
I have the SS genotype.
SS genotype. Tell me a little bit about SS genotype.
So I know from my experience, my hemoglobin has typically been at the baseline of 7.
Okay.
So, just going into the hospital, it's an emergency. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm actually kind of good when it comes to that. And they're like, no, but your hemoglobin's really low. But, with that being the baseline, growing up, it was very hard to keep up with friends. My friends wanted to play and run around, and trying to keep up and run. I get one quick spurt and that's it. and I'm either extremely exhausted or I've triggered a crisis, a pain crisis. Childhood, I would probably say I experienced the worst pain of my pain crises during childhood. And they lightened up sometime around graduating from high school and into young adulthood in college.
What do you contribute that to, that it lightened up?
probably just around that time, I was understanding my illness a little bit more. And
Okay.
so just kind of trying to navigate some of the triggers that I could identify other than cold or overexertion,
Okay.
trying to identify different things, stress, for instance, diet,
Okay.
those different things. And so I was in college, I was I wasn't a party guy. I was just really just kind of laid back, low key. And, I think my worst vice, as you know, Mountain Dew. And
Well, Mountain Dew keep you awake when you're studying in college, doesn't it? I know all about Mountain Dew.
that was probably about my worst vice, but I was able to better navigate with a better understanding. And by college, I was also I didn't meet my first fellow sickle cell warrior until college.
Oh, wow.
And I was starting to meet more and more that lived with what I lived with. I thought it was just me for a long time.
Okay. That's understandable. But here it is though. You started off on one path, to become a hematologist. And then here you are now in the mental health space. And I can completely, relate to that because when I was in school, I really wanted to become a broadcaster. I always wanted to take Monica Kaufman's job, Monica Kaufman Pearson now. And I'm amazed that here it is today. We have a talk show, TV talk show, and we have the podcast Beyond the Show. So it gives me an opportunity that although I diverted from the path, that I'm back on the path. And so it's like full circle. And so is there anyone else that you know of? Well, is there anyone else in your household that's living with sickle cell disease?
I am the only living immediate relative with sickle cell disease.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My immediate younger brother and sister, immediate younger brother has the trait.
Okay.
My sister is completely recessive, and the youngest two were from my mother's second marriage.
Okay.
I have an older angel sister.
Okay.
She passed away when I was 3. She was 6, and she's the only other one that had sickle cell.
Okay.
My daughters have the trait.
Okay. What was life? What did it look like growing up with sickle cell disease?
Trying to play catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what I referred earlier, just trying to catch up with friends. I grew an intense hatred for sports because I did not like being the last one picked. And so I was like, forget sports. I'm not doing sports, I'll do music. I joined the marching band, I joined ROTC, I did anything but sports. But just, that trying to play catch up kind of thing, trying to keep up with, even in trying to keep up with the marching band and staying on point and on focus. A lot of it felt like playing catch up.
I can certainly relate to that. A lot of people don't know, but when I was in high school, in the 10th grade, I decided that I wanted to play basketball. And so when I first went to try out, the first thing the coach said was, "Where are you going?" "I'm here for basketball." She's like, "How tall are you?" I'm like, 5'2". She's like, "Oh, you're too short." I said, "Let me just try." I said, "I'm really good." I was horrible at basketball. And when someone would take the ball from me, I would want to fight. And she was like, "Okay, no, don't ever come back." And she said, "As a matter of fact, you are fast. You may want to try track." So I ended up running track for a little while. And that was fun. So I can totally relate. I was like, when I was younger, I started saying, I hate sports because no one would pick me because I was short. Talk about your family, 7 children. Wow. I thought I had a lot of kids. I have 4. One of my sons passed away when he was 20. But my kids are all grown now. They're gone out of the household. Thank you, Lord. And but tell me about your family of 7. What is that like? That's a lot of kids.
So it's a lot, and it's very mixed. I have an older stepson from a previous marriage.
Okay.
He'll be 20 this month. As a matter
Okay.
of fact. He lives in Thompson. I'm sorry, with his father.
Okay.
And then I have my 3 girls from my previous marriage.
Okay.
My oldest is 16.
Okay.
And the twins, my youngest twins, are both 12, and they were born micro-preemie, so they were born at 26 weeks. So,
Oh, wow.
I get my motivation a lot just from them, watching them and what they went through and where they are now. I went through my divorce in about 2019. I think it finalized around 2020. And then around 2020 is actually when I met my wife, my now wife.
Okay. That was fast. They say you men do not wait.
You know,
We're gonna let that go by. Okay.
I'll say this. I knew when I divorced my ex-wife, I said, I don't want what I experienced with that, but I absolutely want to be married. And I said, you know, when I start dating, I'm gonna date for purpose.
Okay.
That's always been my philosophy. Be intentional. That's what I tell my clients.
That's
be
right.
intentional.
Be intentional.
And so I met my wife. We actually met on one of those little scroll dating things.
Oh, really? Which one?
I believe it was Tinder.
Oh, wow.
And it just so happened, I mentioned in passing I have sickle cell because I was like, hey, I'm gonna let you know I got sickle cell. And it was one day she was messaging me to check on me, and I was actually in the hospital for a pain crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that stuck out to me like, oh, she messaged me to check on me, and I was just happened to be in the hospital. And as we were dating, I'm gonna tell you what sealed the deal for me. As we were dating, it was one day, because mind you, I was still in Savannah at this time. She lives in Cartersville during this time.
Okay.
And this is when I was working at the prison, and I was having a really bad pain crisis. It was in my ribs, it was everywhere, and I do what I usually do, just try to lie and say, no, I'm good, I'm fine.
Right, smile through it.
Smile through it, and so I'm in pain for about a day and a half, and we're on the phone going back and forth, and I believe it's a Tuesday because I took the day off because I was in pain. And I'm telling her, hey, yeah, I'm in pain. I'm gonna take the day off. I'm just gonna relax. And, she's checking in on me every couple of hours. And she's like, well, are you gonna go to the hospital? I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna try to eat something hot and do whatever. And she's checking on me every couple of hours. And she calls one last time and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm just laying down, trying to take it easy. She said, I need you to open your door.
Oh.
And she drove from Cartersville to Savannah and made me some vegetable soup. It had turnips in it. It had I remember the turnips because I love turnips.
Okay.
But she made me a soup, but she was like, I don't know what to do, so I thought I'd make a soup, and I was like, that's actually pretty on track because it tracks because the heat and everything. But that's when I knew I was gonna marry her. When she came to Savannah, I was like, yeah, that's it.
the one.
Yeah. And so she's got 3 of her own.
Okay.
We have a 19-year-old. Her daughter is 19. She's just moved in back with us. And then we have our 17-year-old who's a senior this year.
Okay.
And then the youngest, Carter, he's 10.
Okay.
And so it's a very blended, very varied family.
Yeah. Well, that's so incredible.
Can you hold that thought just for 1 second? This little mic, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put this
Oh.
there, so don't you worry. Okay, we're still rolling.
That's incredible, Clayton. I believe in the same thing, dating with a purpose, right? Being intentional. And I was just sharing with my girlfriend, I was like, I just haven't met the one. And she was like, because it's not time, you're too busy. And that's the major complaint that I was getting. You're always busy. I'm like, yeah, well, I run a company and we have a talk show, we have a podcast. And so I think I just finally realized that I am too busy. So let me just relax but I, like you, love the institution of marriage. And so I know that God's gonna send me my person too.
It's already in the air.
It's already there?
Already
okay.
in the air.
All right, it's just attracting it to the atmosphere. Tell me about your work-life balance. What does that look like? How do you do it? How do you manage your work-life balance?
It's actually a little bit better than it used to be.
Oh, that's great to hear.
It used to be non-existent. My work-life balance is, I start my day, whether I'm working at home or if I'm here at the sanctuary, and I work throughout my day. But once I'm done, if it's not finished, we pick up on it the next day.
Okay.
And because I'm doing so many different things, between the sanctuary and you know, just my other work and everything, I have to prioritize. I have to prioritize my energy. I have to prioritize my time I'm spending with my family. And so, you know, one other thing that I do is my Fridays are my Fridays.
Oh, that's good. That's great. I used to have Mondays off, but then when we started the talk show and the podcast and the executive branding, there's no such thing as a Monday off anymore. So I've been working for the last maybe 2-3 months on Mondays, and I'm looking forward to this being coming to an end for season 1, so I can take the much needed rest that I need, but also go back to having my Mondays. I call them Pamper Me Mondays. What is the role of physical fitness in your life?
Less than it needs to be.
Less than it needs
Less
to be.
than I need it for it to be. When I, you know, that whole trope they say when you're going through the breakup, oh, we working out, we doing all. I was hitting that gym about every other day, you know,
Okay.
and I don't go, as a matter of fact, my oldest son was fussing at me about it this week. Like, when are we gonna start going? And, you know, I've been there a couple times. I haven't seen you yet. You know, we were at the conference a couple of weeks ago. You know, I've been in this workout area every day. Where you been at? I'm like, man, look, I'm trying to, but it's something that I do want to focus on building back up, because that, you know, that wellness component, it plays into the mental health. You know, it plays in. If you're feeling good, you're thinking well. If you're thinking well, you're doing well.
Yeah. I'm addicted to the gym. And I didn't know that it was an antidepressant until my therapist told me that it was. And I said, oh, that's why I feel so incredible. I love going to the gym. And I could tell you, just a 15-minute walk can absolutely change your entire mental psyche and make you start feeling really incredible. So start back with just a 15-minute walk.
You know, I take those, not 15 minutes, but, you know, I'll take my little break when I'm here, and I'll walk to the little gas station and walk back just to kind of.
Yeah, that's great for you. I mean, just walk around the building. That's phenomenal. So I have my watch on, and it'll tag me when it's time for me to move and for me to walk. So I try to get 5,000 steps in even before I get home, and I'll do my treadmill and finish it out to get my 10,000 steps in every day. And you can literally walk your way to fitness with just walking. It is a low impact workout that you can have. And then, as you know it, it's very hard to get started. But once you get started, then you get addicted because you like the results that you start seeing from it, you know, how the physical change, and then really how you start changing. And like you said, the mental health is so crucial to that, right? How do you go about protecting and caring for your mental health space, because you deal with mental health on a regular? So what does Clayton do for his mental health?
I see my therapist and I talk to my mentor.
Okay, then. That's what I'm talking about. Mentors are so important, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
What does your mentor provide for you?
I talk to my mentor when I am, you know, my focuses have always been mental health, and especially like men's health. So when I'm dealing with the certain thoughts that men might have, or the things that I'm seeing or observing or experiencing, and I just need to, you know, to sit down and say, okay, I need a different point of view to see how I'm working with this. You know, I call my mentor, he's a pastor in Florida. My mom actually connected us. And so we've been talking for about 3 years now.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, my mentor, when I am trying to flush out an idea or a vision, he really helps me with that. And then as it relates to my mental health therapist, she's a woman, much older woman, just very grounded, just gave me a lot to think about. And I like how she has really helped me formulate, like we were talking about, that work-life balance, but also really understanding myself and understanding how to let them. And there's a book by this young lady that wrote Let Them, and that was kind of my problem, not setting boundaries, and then learning how to set those boundaries to protect my mental health space, because every day we're inundated, we're flooded with so much information, right? But here's something that you've done that I really like. How have you been able to attract men to mental health when we've been told since they were young, ain't nothing wrong with you go and see a doctor, they called it a cuckoo doctor back then in the day, right?
Mhm.
Or don't let them see you cry, or they created the environment that you didn't want to talk about your problems or anything you was going through because you didn't want people to think you were crazy. So how, number one, have you managed to attract so many men that you're now counseling? And then number two, how did you yourself decide that this was so needed and breaking those stereotypes and the social stigma associated with mental health?
How did I attract that genre of clientele? I think, honestly, I think I just told anyone that would listen,
Okay.
you know, hey, this is what I do. This is what I specialize in. Um, I partnered with the Sickle Cell Consortium as well.
Okay.
And, you know, they have their leadership summits and their, you know, they had the conference a couple of weeks ago. And oftentimes we focus on, you know, I place a focus on what about, you know, where men are sitting in our mental health and how we're feeling and operating and enduring different things. This past conference, for instance, we had so many males, so many men that we were sitting down and we were saying, you know, this is what we're dealing with and this is what we're talking to. You know, we have a Warriors After Dark. It's usually on the first or second night. And it was funny because I was over the men's track and I called the brothers that were going to be helping with those tracks, and they called some of their brothers, and we were meeting and we were having a whole pre-Warriors After Dark the night before, just brothers
incredible.
getting together and just talking. You know, it went from planning how we were going to do the week to now we're just sitting down and we're really just chopping it up. And what I found is, if anything, not so much as how I'm finding them is how they are seeking,
Yeah.
you know, just not as overtly, but they're
Right.
out there and they're seeking.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a need that's always been there.
Yeah.
But I think it's a need that's now being more and more pursued.
Particularly because we have experienced so much trauma. I want you to think about 2020 for a minute. Black Lives Matter. How we had to endure so many Black men losing their lives to violence on national TV, worldwide. And somehow, I kind of think that was intentional to scare you or make you fearful. And it did, for certain, particularly as a mother who has 2 Black sons, well, 3 Black sons, one of my sons deceased. That really did scare me. And then coupled with Black Lives Matter, we also had COVID. And COVID, we lost so many people, and they were alone because no one can go into the hospital, no one can see them. I'm really happy that you have this platform and that you've managed to be able to help, particularly our Black men, because our Black men do need an outlet. They do need a space. They take on so much on their shoulders. And so you're incredibly important, not just to the sickle cell community, but to the community at large. And so I'm really happy that you've been able to attract them. And, you know, when a patient feels protected, that you are confidential and that they can trust you, you're going to have more and more men coming forward to talk to you. And I see that happening inside of our sickle cell space. There was a young man that I knew was in a lot of trouble psychologically. And I'm like, you need to go and talk to Clayton. And he's like, okay. And in a very short period of time, I noticed how different he is. He's smiling now. He has more confidence now. And he made some really big decisions in a very short period of time for the betterment of his life.
Yeah.
You're making a difference. You're making an impact.
I think I know who you're talking about. He was one of the main ones that were in there
Oh, really?
having our pre-conference too.
Oh, that was incredible. You have truly made a difference in his life.
I'm just humbled to have been able to have a part in that. You know, I'm always grateful to be able to give back and give to people in my lives, in my community.
Yeah. I think about how sad I was when I saw that Twitch had committed suicide. It really broke my heart because here was a man on this show every day, talented brother, and had a family. And what bothered me most is that he didn't have an outlet of someone that he could talk to, and that he felt that he was no longer valued or seen or heard, and that he would take his life. That bothered me for quite a while, because he, like many of us who are very strong, we hide the pain.
Mhm.
We smile through the pain. And if he just had you to talk to, he may have still been here with us.
One of the things I've discovered when it comes to suicide, you know, it's more so about wanting to find some kind of relief.
I didn't know that.
You know, it's, there's the trauma, or there's this pain that person is enduring. I see it all the time with other people living with sickle cell. Just, you know, living with it myself, I have that experience, pain. You want it to go away.
Oh.
That mental anguish is just as bad, if not worse. And you're experiencing this pain, you're experiencing this anguish, and all you're asking for is, I need to get this relief.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that. What an education. I never thought about it that way. They just want to end whatever pain, not necessarily end their lives.
Now, you know, I've got my forensic background, so we're obviously not talking about your average narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath.
Right, exactly.
That has the other reason for it.
Right.
But when you get down to it, you know, I was speaking on the radio a couple of years ago, and, you know, a guy had called in, he was asking questions about the suicide, and he mentioned, I think they're just cowards. And I said, no, they're the bravest ones, because they are still, up to that point, they have endured and endured and endured. It takes a lot to endure that kind of pain. It takes a lot to endure that kind of trauma. And it gets to a point where someone says, I need relief. And I want it as quick and as efficient as possible. And then that's when I asked them, but how final do you want it?
Ooh.
And we open that door for that conversation. The other thing I always ask is, what's your why? Let's get an understanding, you know. I want to kill myself. What's your why? Let's talk about it.
And I think also, if someone can get to them before they get to that darkness, helping them reevaluate their life and their value and how it would impact the people around them, though, if they're no longer here.
Yeah.
That's sad. I mean, because my heart was profound when I lost my father. He didn't commit suicide, but he died at a young age. I was 19 when he died. And I was greatly impacted by that for a long time. A long time. And so I know about, like you said, you just want that pain to be away. And there were so many significant moments as a child, and I was a daddy's girl, that my father played in my role. Played in my life, the role that he played in my life. And when he was no longer there, it was a big empty hole for a long time. Yeah, you just gave me another thought. I never knew that. What are some of the recurring themes that you hear from your mental health patients?
Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me turn this microphone.
Oh.
What are some of the recurring themes that you hear from your sickle cell patients I don't call them patients, call them warriors, as you hear from your warriors when they're coming to see you?
I'd probably say the top three, trauma, grief, and depression.
Is the grief because they've seen so many other sickle cell warriors die?
The grief is from a lot of things. We're grieving losses of relationships, losses of jobs, losses of opportunity, loss of self, you know. That, again, that endurance of that pain, enduring that pain and living with it in these so many different variations, because no two people living with sickle cell are going to experience the same thing. That's either. Right. There's that that sense of losing those things, and you're grieving that loss. The trauma, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Just the pain of it. Number one, imagine living with a chronic illness, having a flare up or an episode, and trying to seek help, and either being turned away or being considered a seeker or being mistreated at the front lines with the people that are supposed to be, doing no harm.
Right.
That's trauma.
Yeah.
And then the depression is what's all the stuff that comes after that. When everything is falling from the fallout from those first two, now you're carrying that weight, and that weight it can be depressing.
Full circle. Let's debunk the stereotypes about seeking mental health treatments. How can we debunk that? Let's debunk it.
I think first is just normalize it.
Yes.
You stub your toe, and you see bone exposed. Are you going to say, well, it's going to be foolish of me to try to get help for this? Or are you going to say, I need to handle this? Or you stub your toe, maybe we don't see bone exposed, but it's bent in a certain kind of way
And
that
it
it's not
hurts.
supposed to be
And you
bending.
want somebody to rub your toe to get it out of pain. I've experienced stubbing my toe.
If we're okay with seeking the help from a stranger for that, we're trusting our bodies with health professionals, and that we might not have ever met. Why aren't we trusting others with that mental component? Why aren't we trusting strangers with that mental component? People that are there to help. And so normalizing it's okay to say I'm not well. It's okay to say I am down bad, or it's okay to say I'm absolutely good, but it's okay for a check-in from time to time.
Yeah, I agree. I remember I have an employee, and I had just experienced death of my fiance, and I was walking down the hall, and she's like, "Hey, Tabatha." I was like, "Yes." She said, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I kept walking. She's like, "Hey, Tabatha." And I turned around, I was like, "Yes." She's like, "No, really, are you okay?" I said, "You know what? Actually, I'm not okay, but I'm managing day to day, and every day is different. Every hour, every second, minute, month is different. So I'm managing." And she was like, "Well, I'm always thinking about you. And we have to check on our strong friends, because I'm one of those people, that strong friend that despite what challenge I'm going through, I always have a smile on my face." But that was a very dark time when I lost Gregory. That was a very dark time. And he died, of course, unexpectedly, suddenly. Wasn't like he was sick or anything. So that was trauma. That's what led me to therapy. So yeah, we have to normalize it. Yeah. What else can we do? Normalize it, number one. What else can we do? Well, what we're doing now, we're talking about it. Letting people know, I have a therapist, you have a therapist. It's okay.
I tell my clients, I wouldn't be effective for you if I can't be effective for myself.
That's right.
And not everything that I do for myself by myself may work. I might need to have an extra set of eyes on it. And it's okay to have that extra set sometimes. It can set you straight.
I have some people that work with me, and I have like 4 and 5 hours on things. And I'll do like, nope, we need to change this, nope, and then it goes to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. So yeah, it's very important. And overall, it makes you better. Yeah. Any overall advice that you could give to anyone that is thinking about getting therapy?
I would say if you're thinking about getting therapy, you're already on the right track.
Oh, good.
The therapy community would call that contemplation phase. It's a tough phase, but it's way better than the pre-contemplation, where it's like, absolutely not.
Right.
Once I can get you thinking about it, then we can start talking about it. Once we can start talking about it, then we can start making some plans. When we start making some plans, we can start getting the ball rolling.
Okay. I like that. Say that again. I like it. Say it again.
Oh, man. Once we start thinking about it,
Okay.
then we can start talking about it. Once we start talking about it, then we can start planning. Once we start planning, then we can start doing. And when we're doing, that's when we've got the ball rolling. I think that might have been what happened with our friend we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking about it with that friend all the time. And then I kept advising, I kept saying, it's okay. And, you know, this person is definitely a macho man, you know. But I am so glad that he did that. So just recently, you founded a 501c3 for mental health. You want to talk about that?
Warrior Connections. And so my wife Shayna and I, we wanted to find out what we can do to further serve our community, to further foster the mental health and build the mental health of the community, as well as just be a good resource. And so, we had Andrews counseling, and we do the counseling, and we said, well, we want to also be able to really focus on our sickle cell community. And we want to focus on it in a way that is not, let's make it easy for everyone,
Right.
and
It's
be a
not
good
threatening.
resource. Yeah. And so, we founded Warrior Connections, and we focus on 3 areas, mental health being the most prominent, mentorship for our males, our young sickle cell males being the second. And I took a concept from a year I spent as a co-response clinician when I partnered with a police officer a few years ago. And we would respond to crisis situations in the community, and putting ourselves as a nonprofit in a position of being able to respond to our clients when they're in crisis too, not only as resources like, do you need food, do you need this or whatever, but in the midst of that crisis, in the midst of that hospital visit, or in the midst of that ER visit, do you need someone to, everything else is already crazy. So, if you're dealing with that stress, you're dealing with that trauma, do you need someone to walk with you on that path? And so that's how we're serving our community with Warrior Connections.
Well, I'm certainly happy to have you as a partner. I mean, really joyful to see you even grow from our partnership and our collaboration, and to be in this space doing something that you do very well. That's your expertise. And that's what people don't understand. You don't have to be in competition with each other. You don't have to worry about somebody taking something away from you. It's enough for all of us. And particularly, the more we help each other, the more it helps our warriors. And so I want to say, number one, thank you for being the man that you are. I know you're a great husband, wonderful father, but a great partner as well in business. And so I'm looking forward to the Warrior Connection being born, growing. And I'm also looking forward to so many other people getting the help that they need. So let's continue that fight of normalizing mental health.
Absolutely.
It has been such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Tabatha.
You're
The pleasure is all mine.
Well, thank you. It is so phenomenal that you have listened to this very educational episode of Beyond the Show, Mental Health. And here's what I want you to know. It is okay for you to talk to someone. I have a therapist. As you heard, Clayton have a therapist. Our good friend now have a therapist. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay. What we don't want to have happen is for you to be a statistic, for you to be someone that's contemplating suicide or follow through. We want you to know that there is help for you through Clayton Andrews, through the Sickle Cell Sanctuary. We're partners. Warrior Connection is coming. And so come on, get some help today. If there's anything that feels out of order, you can get in order by visiting sicklecellsanctuary.com and booking your appointment for Clayton Andrews. It's been a sheer pleasure to have you with us. And remember, go ahead and subscribe. Help us share this information. Tag us on social media at Sickle Cell GA. Share with your friends, your colleagues, your warriors. Share it with every person that you know that you may think need help. Let's not have another person lose their lives because they did not get the help or seek the help that they needed. I'm your girl Tabatha, and this is Beyond the Show, and I'll see you the next time.